Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at classes and objects in C++. We're going to go ahead and create a new file called classes.cpp. And the main difference when it comes to the C programming language and the C++ programming language is that C++ supports object-oriented programming. What does that mean? That means we can use classes and objects. To better understand classes and objects, we're going to be using an analogy. So let's say, for example, we had a car manufacturing company. So before we build the car, we're going to have our blueprint. So this blueprint to build the car is going to be our class. So this blueprint is going to be used to build different type of cars with different type of colors. Then when it comes to the actual cars that we build, those cars are equivalent to objects. So this is a simple analogy. So blueprints is the same as a class. So a class is a blueprint to build different objects in our code. So in order to create a class, we're going to follow the following format. So we're going to have the keyword class followed by the name of our class. Then we're going to have a block of code. In order to create an object, we're going to have the class name followed by the name of the object. So now we're going to see it in code. So we're going to have our template, which is #include iostream. Then we're going to have our main function, and inside our main function we're going to create an object. But before we create the object, outside our main function, that is where we're going to be defining our class. So we're going to have class, and we're going to be creating a city class. So it's going to be representing a city. Then we're going to have our curly braces, and in here we're going to put in the different attributes of a city and maybe some functions that a city does or that goes with our city class. So our city is going to have two attributes. It's going to have a name and it's going to have population. So let's put that in. The name is going to be a string and we're going to call it name. And we're also going to have an integer for the population. So these are the two attributes of our city class. Now we're going to be looking at a new word, which is public. So in here, we're going to put in different functions we want to use with the city class. So I'm going to be explaining what the public word is and what it uses after we write the different functions. So let's say we have a function to get the name of our city. So it's not going to return anything. So it's going to be void. Void is a keyword you use when your function does not have a return type. So it's going to be void, and we're going to call it get name. It's going to take no parameters. It's simply going to print out city name followed by the name variable. Then we're going to add a new line character for readability. So this is one function for our city class. You're also going to have another function with a void return type, which is get population. So this is going to print out the population. So it's going to be std cout. Then we're going to have population. Then we're going to substitute in the population variable followed by a new line. So this is going to be our blueprint. So it's going to be a city that has two attributes and two functions. So the two attributes are the name and population attribute. The two functions are going to be the getName function and the getPopulation function. Now, when we create classes, we need to add a semicolon after the closing brace. So we should not forget this. But if we were creating a function, we did not have to do this. But for classes, we need to add a semicolon at the end. Once we've done that, we can go back to our main function And now we're going to be using the syntax we saw to create an object, which is the class name followed by the name of the object. So here we're going to create an object, a city object, and we're going to call it Addis. So this just created a city object called Addis. Now let's say we wanted to set the name to Addis Ababa. So we would do Addis dot, then we would access the name variable and we would set it to a name that we want. But as you can see, when we put dot, we only see get name and get population. That is because the two attributes are not in the public keyword. That means they're private and we cannot access them outside the class. Other times you would create another function called setName and setPopulation, and you'd use those functions inside the city class in order to set the name and population. But for now, just to make things simple and to explain the public keyword, we're going to cut our two attributes and we're going to place them inside public. So once we place them inside public, if we go back to the Addis object and we put a dot, as you can see, now we can access name and population. So we're going to access the name attribute and we're going to set it equal to Addis Ababa. Then we're also going to access the population attribute and we're going to set it to 5 million. So now we have an object called Addis that has a name and a population. Now we're going to use the different functions. So in order to access the function, again, we're going to put in the object name followed by a dot. So we're going to access the get name function. Since it takes no input, we do not add anything in the parentheses. We also want to access the get population function. Again, it takes no input. So now this should print out city name Addis Ababa, population 5 million. So we're going to save our file, go to our terminal, compile our file, which is classes.cpp, and we're going to run it. As you can see, it prints out city name Addis Ababa and population 5 million. So this is a very basic class and object in C++, but we can create many complex objects, but this is just an introduction. Thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more daily programming videos.